WWDC is Apple's worldwide developer conference, and it just happened, and it was huge. I'm Matt Schuyler, and I'm going to tell you all about what Apple just released. Let's get started. So, beginning as always with a flashy intro like usual, this time entering into Steve Jobs Theater. That was great. Tim Cook went straight into taking the wonderful chance that he did to condemn racism and talk about current events. Not something that we would usually expect during this event, but a great move there. Then we went into iOS. As per usual, we went up one number to iOS 14, not iPhone OS. Sorry, John, you were wrong on that one. And we've got a bunch of crazy things. This was huge, just crazy. Very Android-esque. So it starts with an app library. On the last page, all of your apps are automatically organized, sort of like the app drawer on Android, into these mega folders. And it suggests you stuff. Very intelligent categories. You can also just hide pages of apps that you don't think you need or use. There are widgets. These are the same widgets that are in the Today view already, but there's just a lot more information there. Totally redesigned. You got more data, different sizes. Different apps can have different widgets with different sizes, and they can go on the home screen. It's basically just like Android, but so much better, except a little bit. I'm a little skeptical, but it could work out really well. The other thing is this Smart Stack, which is like a Siri intelligent widget that changes depending on date, time, where you are, stuff like that. That's kind of cool, could be useful. Picture-in-picture actually happened on the iPhone. They did it. You can watch video, picture-in-picture. It works just like on the iPad. And that's fantastic. That's amazing. They're just covering everything. And just after that, they move right into Siri. Siri now shows up at the bottom as this little overlay. And then based on what you say to her, she'll just do the action or pop up with the information as a notification. Kind of like a behind-the-scene things like Google Assistant has been leaning towards, but super cool. And calls. Phone calls do the same. They just pop down from the top. They actually announced this with the iPad, but it's awesome. So, a Translate app. They just kind of jumbled this in with Siri, but they have a Translate app that does offline translations by Apple, and it's got conversation stuff, so you can use it to have a conversation with someone starting in one of their first 11 languages, but I'm sure it'll expand as Apple typically does. And then another Apple app, Messages, getting more just crazy updates. You can pin conversations. You've got a lot more options from emojis, and they totally reinvented group messages. So you've got inline comments, so responding to stuff in line, memojis to better keep track of people, mentions, so you can just mention people and they can choose to only get notifications when they're mentioned or all the time, and just in general, more customization options in iMessage and group messages. It's awesome. Now, when they move into Maps, they began by touting how awesome Apple Maps is, even though we all know it isn't. Talking about how they expanded their updated maps to UK, Ireland, and Canada, probably a few more places that they didn't mention. A new thing, which sounds like it could be cool, is guides. So it's just for places, little guides. They're partnering with companies to give you guides. So if you go to New York, there can be a guide about places to eat food, things like that. Also, cycling. I didn't realize they didn't have this, but they're getting cycling directions. Catch up with Google. Hey. Electrical vehicle routing, so it'll track your charge, predict your route, and add some charging stops to help you get there. That's good. With electrical vehicles, they move into CarPlay, talking about how you can have new backgrounds, new apps, cool, and then they hit us with the big one, Car Key. They're just hitting everything. So the 2021 BMW will support Car Key. They're also opening it up to whatever car manufacturer wants to integrate with this. You tap with your iPhone to unlock the car. You can also share your keys with other people through iMessages or likely other sources. You can then restrict that key So say you got a teenager in the house, you can restrict it so they can only use that key at certain times. Car key is coming to not only iOS 13 but also iOS 14. Crap, device support. Did we not get that? Hold up. Now the last thing here is app clips. Their pitch was there's an app clip for everything. It's like this small part of an app that you can easily get and then it only stays for as long as you need them. You can get them from the web, maps, iMessage, QR codes, or NFC tags. And they have these special little app clip QR code things. We'll see how this goes. This could totally flop or it could become huge. We'll see. And then we move through special camera movements to iPadOS. Here we have redesigned widgets just like the iPhone. In fact, a lot of things just like the iPhone. So a lot of new sidebars. Photos, notes, files, music, calendar have these cool new sidebars, which are very macOS-esque, and I quite like them. Very useful. New drop-downs and menus with toolbars and stuff in a lot of their apps. It's becoming very macOS desktop-y. I kind of like that. Also, again, Siri from the iPhone carried over. Call is showing up in a small prop-up carried over. Spotlight search, new. A lot like the Mac. They're calling it universal search. And it's just a basically updated search that doesn't take your whole screen away from you. There are some huge pencil updates. I don't have my pencil with me, but they are huge. Handwriting interacted with like text. So they will analyze your handwriting, make it text, and you can select it, copy it, move it, cut it, all sorts of stuff. Scribble is if you have a text field, you can just use your pencil to write in it, and it'll convert your handwriting into text. This is awesome. Pencil, like drawing shapes and stuff. If you draw your shape and then you pause, it becomes like a perfect shape. So a lot of stuff here to make handwriting super practical and amazing on the iPad. And they just casually threw this up there, but default email and browser apps is happening. That is a huge one. That is one of the things that I actually really wanted, and that's coming. AirPods now have the ability to auto-magically switch between devices when you watch stuff, get calls, stuff like that. That's cool if you have AirPods. Also, AirPods Pro are getting this spatial audio surround sound thing, where the audio is all theatery, special surround soundy. Cool if you have AirPods Pro. Now on to the Apple Watch. So this is getting some small updates. Apple's kind of running out of things to do for the Apple Watch, but they do get some stuff in here. Apps can now have multiple different complications similar to widgets, so just different complications to put on the watch face. So yeah, that could be kind of cool there. Watch faces can now be shared to people by using a share screen, and you can download them. New options for dance workouts, core training, strength training, and a cool down. Kind of cool. On the iPhone, the updated activity app is now called the Fitness app. And we got another big, huge leak thing here. Sleep tracking. This one's super cool. So yeah, you got sleep tracking. It works pretty well. And then it also comes with a wind down feature that works on iPhone and Apple Watch to help you just cool down a little bit before nighttime, dims your screen, sends your watch into sleep mode, stuff like that. And then Apple went and did it. Hand washing. When you wash your hands, your watch detects it, and it times your wash for you to make sure that you're washing your hands for long enough. Apple is here to enforce that you wash your hands right. So yeah, there you go. They drop in a few little privacy notes here in a cool dark room with Craig. So we've got option to just share your approximate location with apps. That one's pretty cool. Home app has some small updates with more options and face recognition based on your photos that announces in several places, including tvOS and like HomePods and stuff, if you actually even have HomePods. Which leads them into tvOS, where the Xbox controller gains support with it. That's fun. And continuing the picture-in-picture extravaganza, Apple TV gets picture-in-picture everywhere with everything. They then bring us into Apple TV Plus with a new TV show called Foundation, based on some sci-fi novel from some time ago. Boring. Next, macOS Big Sur. This was actually a leaked name. And yeah, we've got a crazy macOS here, actually. Now, very opinionated ideas about this. Either you love it or you hate it, basically. But you've got a big redesign with new icons. They're very flat and iOS-like, with an iOS-like notification center and control center, bringing back color into macOS a little bit, so each app can have like a key color that gets very involved. And then they brought over some iOS apps in their full versions. iMessage and Maps are just like the iOS version. And then we've got Safari extensions. So this is like Chrome extensions. You get them from Apple's store, and they've got a lot of secure stuff because that's what Apple does. Privacy and security is their game. And translations in Safari. Goes with their earlier translation app. Cool job, Apple. I'll give you that one. ARM Macs. This was their huge last announcement where they take us down to their secret undisclosed location and tell us all about their new Macs on own Apple chips. Their Apple Silicon. These chips, they talk about high performance, low power consumption, very energy efficient, all sorts of fun stuff here. And Apple's apps are all set up to run on these new Apple chips. Developers have everything they need to make these new chips in Xcode, which is the developer app on the Mac. Microsoft and Adobe have already been working on this and have working apps right now. Apps that haven't been updated yet can use Rosetta 2 to run old Intel apps. So if you have apps, if you try to download an app that was designed for old Intel Macs, they will still run well. In fact, really well. We got new virtualization stuff, so running Linux and stuff on Mac, kind of cool. iPhone, this one, they just kind of casually threw this in there. But iPhone and iPad apps, any of them can run on the Mac. You can just download from the App Store an iPhone app and run it on your Mac. Now, all I want is flip it the other way. Let me use the Pro apps on my iPad. Please do it, Apple. And coming later this year are these ARM Macs. And that's pretty much what Apple did there. Whole bunch of new releases, some crazy, crazy stuff. I'm worried about bugs, but yeah, this is exciting. That's about everything you need to know, and that's what Apple did today. I'm Skylar. Thanks for watching. Bye.